I'm going to kind of look through some of the questions that popped up in here. Let's take a look here. And then, John, I'm just going to go back with ones with the green flags. Is that right?
Yeah, right from the top, correct.
Okay, cool. I'll just go ahead and go through them, and you can kind of flag them or I'll flag them as I go through them and try to do it. Kelly, you asked earlier, I've seen a few charts where the stock has been overpriced for months. What's going on there? There are some stocks, and a lot of times it could be pharmaceutical stocks or even bank stocks that are like that, where they always have overpriced options. And honestly, if you find examples like that, they're fine. It's really all about the concept behind it. And if they're constantly overpriced, some of them just are. There's a handful that I know of. It's perfectly fine to trade those. No issues with that at all. And then, Thomas, I know I answered your question about how does volatility increase if the stock price doesn't change. Remember, it's all about earnings. Earnings is the driver to how volatility increases. The closer you get to an earnings announcement, the higher that the implied volatility is going to go. So it's all about the earnings. And then let's see here. John, you asked, can you elaborate more on how volatility relates? Are you saying how volatility, because it says VOL, how vol relates to overpriced? I think I know, but not sure. If it's volatility, it's HV and IV. The implied, now you got to think of it this way, right? I'll give you a little bit of a description here. Remember, there's two forms of volatility, right? There's HV, that's what happened in the past. And then there's IV, which is what can happen out here. Now, typically speaking, where do the big moves of a stock occur? Look at this right here. Look at this gap where IBM gapped from like 146 to 157. Or right here during earnings, IBM was like at 170. The next day it opened up at 165. Or right here, IBM was at 160. It gapped the next day to like 140 or 155. Okay? Implied volatility is the market's estimate for what that stock may do in the future. Now, the biggest moves of a stock are earnings. So as earnings gets closer, the implied volatility starts to move higher because traders know that, guess what? That earnings announcement is going to lead to a large move in the stock. So it really comes down to the traders understanding that, hey, this stock's going to make a big move. I need to make sure that the options are priced accordingly. And as a big move comes in, options traders supply and demand drives the price up of volatility. That's kind of how that works. It's all about the earnings announcement. Hey, and then Michael, you would ask, how does that doesn't look like a huge increase in volatility. What percentage increase does it take to really affect the trade? In a case like that, and I know you were referring to Tesla, in something like that, what you have to look at is you have to look at